Alright, you guys, here it is. Welcome to my playthrough on Dark Souls 2. I'm super excited to be bringing this to you guys. I really am. I mean, Dark Souls 1 is one of my favorite games. I put out 2 series on that game and we really had a great time with both of those series. So now, we're doing the second one. The sequel, very much direct sequel to Dark Souls 1. And it's a really amazing game. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's now been 1 month since it actually came out, and I've played through it like 1.5 times, I'd say. Currently on New Game Plus with my main character, I guess you could say. And yeah, this is gonna be my playthrough. So everybody, welcome. Is there like a wave thing? Yeah, hi. In case you don't know, I'm Nick. This is my channel. So if you're new, hopefully you're gonna enjoy what you are seeing, and if you're a veteran, welcome to this playthrough. Let's have a amazing time with what is one of the best games I've played this year. Absolutely, hands down, one of the best games. Alright, so to very quickly give you some kind of, I don't know, I guess overview over what this series is gonna try to be, I really want to try to do thorough exploration, really take a look into almost everything that areas have to offer, and also delve a little bit into lore. I mean, of course, I'm not really like too much into the lore. Like, I'm not necessarily the best person to be talking about that, but I do find a lot of stuff interesting and worth mentioning, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Yes, as I was saying earlier, very much not a blind playthrough, so I do know my way around, I'd say. Let's enter this house and watch some cutscenes before we then get started with our real character right here, our real build.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow. Yes, you'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
Well, what is going to be my name, viewers? You probably can't imagine what this one's going to be. A little throwback to those first series that I was making on the first Dark Souls. So obviously, in order to properly start this off, this one is going to be Potatoez, very much like our initial Dark Souls character. Let's carry on.
At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy.
Take a closer look.
Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
Alright, and of course now we're gonna get to create our character, and that's probably a good time to talk a little bit about builds and what I'm gonna be going for with this playthrough. I do have to admit, I haven't quite decided yet. I kind of want to go for, or I at least want to try a dex build, because that's the complete opposite what I've done with my main character, which is very much a strength build. So I don't know, we're just gonna explore it a little bit. You guys can also leave me some feedback on what you like to see and what kind of builds you'd recommend. But I would like to try Dex, and then it's either gonna be a Strength, Faith, or just Dex, Faith, or no Faith. Yeah, basically, as you can probably tell, I don't quite know what we're gonna go for. But at least I know what I want my character to look like, which is a little bit older. Then again, I don't know whether you can really adjust the age, like you can in, say, Demon Souls, for example. I might not be able to find that, which is very unfortunate. Is there anything around here? I mean, there might be some kind of slider. Yeah, oh, there totally is age. I didn't know that. Does he look much older? I wouldn't be able to tell. I guess he does now. I guess it was still loading a little bit. So we don't want to go like full on old, but just relatively old, and we can go all masculine. And yeah, that's probably gonna do. I don't want to fuck around too long with this, but he looks all right. He's basically what I want him to look like, and yeah, I picked the Knight class. It doesn't really matter, as you're probably aware. In Dark Souls, it does not really matter too much. You can still become anything you want, which is a nice a nice thing, isn't it? Very, very much like actual life. You can become whatever you want and follow your dreams, stuff like that. Let's just carry on. I'm getting sidetracked. Unnecessarily sidetracked.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse.
You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom.
But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
Yeah, very, very self-aware towards the end there. It's almost like the developers are trying to make a statement here. But yeah, in case you were wondering what this item dump is all about that you were just witnessing, it's just because I have the Black Armor Edition and there was like a download code for a bunch of unique items, and I don't know. It's there. I don't particularly like him. I don't also like the fact that they do that or did that. And I'm not going to be using any of those shields because, I mean, I picked the Knight and he spawns without a shield, so I should have to struggle without a shield. And we're going to very quickly talk to this lady. She's going to tell us a little bit about these ladies over here.
Why else would you visit such a place? This lost, decayed kingdom.
Alright.
My name is Millibeth.
Hey, Millibeth.
The old women were once fire keepers.
And that's real interesting, right here.
I am here to look after them. It is what my mother did, and her mother before her, and so on. So,
if you've played Dark Souls 1, you probably do recognize that term, fire keepers, because they were, well, I wouldn't say all over the place, but there were quite a few of them in the very first Dark Souls, and once again, with this being a direct sequel to that game, it's very interesting to see them all old and sitting here just resting next to a fireplace, and Millibeth over here taking care of them. So it seems like this is very much in the past of all the events that happened in the very first Dark Souls.
And the kingdom is beset by hollows. the old women as sisters. I am told there was a fourth. Long ago, firekeepers were commonplace. But now they are lost, scattered to the winds.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any additional... Oh no. That is all the dialogue that she has to offer. And yeah, she was once again saying that they were once commonplace and now not so much anymore. So I think that's very interesting because it kind of makes a connection to Dark Souls 1, which is something that you might completely miss on your first playthrough. Like, just the connection to the first Dark Souls, because it's not really obvious with that. The game really isn't obvious about that. You will have to really collect some info and look at item descriptions, and only then you may actually make the connections and find out for yourself that this is truly a sequel.
Then you to start again.
Alright. And I actually very much like that. There's a lot of things I don't necessarily like about this game. And I guess also the beginning area right here is going to be, well, kind of part of that. I don't like how they dump a very strange cutscene on top of you immediately as you enter this. Because it's, I don't know, it's not very Dark Souls the way this whole cutscene was set up just now. But I guess that's just me nitpicking. I very much love this game. I think it's a fantastic game and a worthy successor to the first Dark Souls. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this because it's real challenging. There's a lot to look into. There's a lot to discover and explore. I can't wait, you guys. I hope everybody's excited for this. If you actually end up enjoying this episode, by all means show your support in form of a like and similar things. It would really help out. I kind of want this to be a success. I think that would be an amazing thing and would definitely just then in turn make this series even better. This place over there that I was just looking at is a really cool one, and it's something we'll certainly explore, but not just yet. I mean, we can't just jump there right now. But also once we are able to go there, which is going to be like a minute maybe, we're not even then going to do it because it's a real difficult area. At least right now it is, and we kind of want to level up a little bit more before we do that. You of course can maybe do it right now. You could very much probably do that, but I would not necessarily be comfortable with that just yet, just because, yeah, it's fucking difficult. That's basically what it all comes down to. Let's kill this guy right now. I did take a little bit of damage to those arrows there, but this is very much a tutorial section. You don't even have to be doing this, which is something I actually very much appreciate. But for the sake of completion, we're now going to run through the entirety of it and show off what they have to offer right here. And this is actually going to be something that you'll probably get a kick out of if you've played Demon Souls and Dark Souls. Another crow's nest that you can drop items into, and then they're going to give you stuff. So for example, this petrified something that I chose as my starting gift, I can now leave right here in this nest, and they're gonna give us something in return, and that's gonna be a petrified dragon bone, a upgrading item, and that's alright. That's an okay pickup. I guess it's that most of the time actually. So we're gonna want to drop down here. That was a little scary. I was a little close to the edge, we'll have to admit that, but luckily we didn't die just yet, which is, yeah, very much rather nice. So maybe to very quickly touch on all those starting items, because if you've played Dark Souls 1, you probably know that the Master Key was the go-to item, and was basically the only one that you want to get. Kind of, I guess. It kind of depends, but it was the absolute best item out of those few that you got to pick there. This game doesn't have that. You don't have the must-get item. There's just, I don't know, a selection of rather minor items. So the one that I picked, I just used, and that's that. And that's basically what most of them are like. Right, we don't want to do a plunging attack on this guy right here. It's gonna really inflict a lot of damage just falling down, I mean. Oh, Jesus, and he actually keeps hitting us. And staggered us a little bit too. But not too big of a deal as long as we keep healing ourselves a little bit with the life gems, which is a new way of healing yourself in Dark Souls 2. Didn't have those in Dark Souls 1, as you might already know. But yeah, I find that to be really cool. Let's maybe talk about that a little bit, because it's just an extra way of healing. It kind of reminds me of the grass thingies, like the crescent moon grass and stuff like that from Demon Souls. So very much a consumable that you have to first of all pick up before you use. It's not like the Estus flasks that you can just replenish at a bonfire. If you use all 10 of these that I have right now, they're gone, and you'll have to pick up additional ones if you want to keep using life gems. And that's really interesting because they're really slow. They're like a last resort almost. And I don't know. I guess it does certainly add a new layer to the combat and just combat strategies. And I'm probably a big fan of it, I'd say. So we should be done with this area fairly soon. This is like the last section of it. And as I was saying earlier, you can very much skip by all of this and just run past all those gates, the fog gates. And that's fine. If it's your second playthrough, you probably want to be doing that. But as I was saying, we just want to check out everything in this playthrough, at least as much as possible. I don't know all the item locations, obviously, and I'm very, very likely to miss a lot of stuff. But I guess with maybe your assistance, we're going to be able to very much clear this game rather well. So, yeah, just want to make sure to pick up some extra neat items right here. It's not too important. You could easily skip by this. Really, really is. So I think that does it. Or should do it. I don't think there's anything else. And you might have been noticing these sconces over here, or just all over the place, I guess. You can light those, and that's actually a new feature of Dark Souls 2. You can carry around a torch and then light up the area. And while maybe gameplay wise it's not completely necessary, it visually is really pleasing. It very, very nicely lights up the entire place, and it's gonna look awesome. And that's, I guess, the biggest part, or the biggest reason why you'd want to do that. Other than that, it's not necessarily too necessary, especially not in this area. There's darker areas later on where you might want to do it, but as of right now, we're not gonna waste our time with that. And yeah, now we're gonna leave things betwixt the starting area, the tutorial area, and we're gonna enter the hub world of this game. So very much this game's Firelink Shrine, Majula. And man, this is a beautiful area. It really, really is. I'm a big fan of it. At least visually, I am a big fan of it. For my taste, it's maybe a little bit too big. Like running around the place, hopping from NPC to NPC is probably... it just takes a little bit too long, but it has a very neat atmosphere. The music is cool in the background, really just underlines how kind of empty and sad everything is here. But yeah, I mean, like, as I was saying, atmospherically, really cool. Other than that, like, gameplay-wise, it's a little annoying, I'd say. So here's going to be our first NPC, actually, and before we talk to him, we want to rob his precious treasure. I forget what it's going to be, but I think it's something cool. Alright, Titanite shard. That's actually really cool. We can upgrade some weapons using that, in case you don't know. Very much reoccurring. That was already in Dark Souls 1. But yeah, let's talk to him. Maulin.
Hello there. Welcome to my shop. I'm Morlin, and I sell armor. Oh, sorry, Please do have a look at my wares. I could really use the business, if you'd be so kind.
Absolutely, Mullen. We're gonna maybe actually buy something off of you, because I could really use a shield. I do have a shield as part of that big giant item dump that I got as soon as I created my character. But of course, I don't want to be using those because it's kind of cheap to be using those good shields that I can now already wield. Otherwise, you would not be getting those. So I'm probably going to get the Silver Eagle shield in just a little while. But for now, we're just going to talk to him a little bit more. And he's going to talk about his origin and what he wants to do here in Majula.
It's a lively place, vibrant with trade.
Not really offering too much story as of yet, but he actually has a really cool character curve, and we're going to explore that as we carry on with the game.
In hopes of striking gold.
But for now, all we need to go, not go, is that he is just the armor selling person here in Majula, a merchant. I guess that's what you call that.
Everything's all run down and dying. It's terrible for business, really.
Alright. I think he has more to say, but I don't want to necessarily go into too much detail when it comes to that just yet. I guess the big issue, and I'm kind of torn when it comes to that, so you guys may also leave some feedback when it comes to that. But I find the dialogue to be really interesting in this game. It's usually always worth listening to it. The problem just is that it's really spaced oddly. Like, there's a lot of silence in between all their statements. So actually in my first playthrough, I always found myself just clicking through it, always like very quickly reading it, because they would just take many more seconds than it would take me to just read through it very simply. So I don't know. Let me know whether you want to hear all the dialogue or whether you want me to skip through it at a pace where you should be able to still read it. Or I guess another option would be just me talking over their statements, going into detail on what they're trying to get across. So yeah, this is going to be the main bonfire in this game. Very much like a Firelink Shrine bonfire. This is going to be our hub bonfire. So we'll be here a lot, be resting here a lot. And before we now end this very first episode, we absolutely want to talk to this person, this lady. I missed her on my first playthrough. Like, at least not completely, but like for the first few hours I just missed her. I didn't know that she existed. I didn't know about the things that she is now going to give us, which are very important. So that was quite something.
Merely a pawn of fate, bearer of the curse. I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey.
Yep, Estus Flask. Totally missed that.
He who made Drangleic what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick.
Alright. Oh yeah, and we can also level up at her, which is also very important. And you don't want to be missing that.
Will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid.
Alright.
Seek those whose names are unutterable.
So she's basically now outlining our mission right now, our objectives. We want to go see King Vendrick, and in order to have the power to finally then see him, face him, we're going to want to destroy and embrace 4 souls. I guess we don't want to destroy those. We want to destroy the evil monsters that hold on to those souls and then obtain them, and then just gain power from those souls, and then eventually talk to Vendrick. So she's now gonna start with her standard dialogue. She's really one that says a lot, unfortunately. She's always throwing statements around, kind of wasting your time, and that's something I don't like about her, but she's very important. As I was saying earlier, I totally missed her for like the first few hours when I first sat down and played this game. and you don't want to be doing that. I actually had to fight the first boss without knowing about leveling up and without knowing about Estus flasks, so that you don't want to do. Very, very much a a pro tip right here. Talk to her. There's another guy right here. He's basically this game's crestfallen warrior. Let's talk to him real quick.
Undead, aren't you?
He also has a few interesting things to say.
Scent, the smell of irreversible fate. This is Majula. It is a kind of settlement. A place where life is almost normal. And in Drangleic these days, there are very few places like that. I am Solden. And like you, I lost everything. And now I'm here. You probably heard that it was possible to break the curse here. Well, that's not true at all. There's nothing here for you, me, or anybody. Do you know much about souls?
Yeah, and now he's just going to explain a little bit about souls and how the whole mechanics of Dark Souls work, I think. With how you are trying to not get hollowed and how you have to try to hold on to your souls. And eventually now, I'm just going to skip a little bit ahead. He's going to also offer us to join his covenant, which is probably something we want to do at this point. And yeah, of course, the 4 beings that were mentioned by the Emerald Herald a little bit earlier.
Come up against them. Each has a powerful soul and a terrible curse. If that frightens you, then you ought to just...
Funny, Solden, very, very funny.
The journey of an You'll face invaders from other worlds.
Alright, and now she, not even she, but he should offer us to join the Blue Sentinels. Basically the first covenant that you're probably going to be joining in this game. I think what it does is that it should maybe like...
That is a wise decision.
Allow you to have like blue phantoms come help you when you get invaded, but I haven't had much experience with invasion, to be completely honest. I've not been invaded in my entire Dark Souls 2 career so far, which is kind of strange. I don't know why that is. That might be because of my NAT, my network something that prevents other people from joining. I don't know. It's very technical. It's nothing I want to get into right now. There's another guy right here. He's going to be our blacksmith. No need to talk to him just yet, unfortunately. That's something we'll do either next time or at least in one of the next few episodes. And just gonna pick up some extra items. There's another nice area for us to check out up here. And very much an infamous area or just spot in Dark Souls 2, because if you interact with this too much, you're gonna be joining another covenant, which then makes the game twice as hard, I think. Like the enemies deal twice the damage. I think that's what it does, and don't join that. At least, maybe in your first playthrough you shouldn't, just because it's gonna make it real hard for you. But guys, that's probably gonna do for the very first episode here on my Dark Souls 2 series. Of course, a lot of exposition, nothing too much happening just yet, but as soon as that next episode starts, we're gonna head towards this area over there, this fort that you can see in the distance, and go through an area that is called the Forest of the Fallen Giants, basically the first area, or actual area at least, that you're gonna be going through. And I'm super excited because there's a boss at the end, there's lots of enemies, items for us to pick up. We're gonna have a good time. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this first episode. There will be much, much more where this came from. So yeah, with all of this out of the way, with a first look at Majula and also having things betwixt completed to some extent. We're gonna go back to that place for a few, I don't know, extra things that you can do and make use of. Let's just call it a day right here. My English is apparently slipping, so I should better just end it right now. As I was saying, thank you so much for watching. Show your support in form of a like and comments down below. I'll be back with more. See you then, you guys. Goodbye.